we are going to do another 3-yard quilt, and this time we are going to use the Delight pattern. I mean, everybody was asking about this pattern. So, and I kept talking about doing it in purples. And so here are the purples. They're more lavenders that I'm going to do. Now, what's interesting about this, well, somewhat, maybe not interesting to you, is when you look at this, I see most people would put their focus fabric right here. And that would work, except if this, the owl is my focus fabric, I'll see it again right here. But for this one, it's kind of, let me see, how should I put this? When I'm looking at this right here, this little area that goes around it, I don't want to be concerned with this print being directional and being perfect. I'm already taking a chance doing it the way that I'm doing it. I don't want it to be askew. This guy, I really want it to lay straight. And so I'm going to use it just this one time here and then again out here on the border. So hopefully I have a better chance of cutting it straight and having it straight here and not having it twist and turn and meet. This one is so busy that I think if we're having it twist and turn and meet, it won't be so obvious, or it'll just be pretty. I think it'll just be very, very pretty going around the sides here. And I've just been dying to use this fabric again. I think it's so beautiful. So my number one fabric is going to be this. This one here is going to be my number one fabric. That blue is going to be my number two fabric, the blue. And then my number three fabric is going to be the owl, which probably seems a little strange. I get it, but that's how we're doing it. I usually don't show all my cutting, and I'm still not, but I do want to show you guys how to cut fabric number 2 quickly. So just cut fabric number 1 per the instructions, nothing special there. But that fabric number 2, I'm going to show you how to do that super duper quick, or much faster than you probably would with anything else. I'll be right back. For fabric number 2, I have more than a yard of fabric here. I'm not sure what I was thinking when I purchased it, but it is what it is. So I have it folded in half. You're going to do the same thing with your yard of fabric or whatever you're doing. Now, when you look at this pattern, like many of their patterns, they have a lot of strips that need to be cut at the same size that go in different places, but they're all still the same size. So instead of opening this up and cutting 16 times, we're just going to fold it over. It's just going to save us some time. I need to cut 16 of the same strip, so it's folded in half. I would not suggest doing it more. You can if you have a big 60 millimeter, but I think it's best to just do 4 layers, honestly. So I'm just going to do this here and freshen up this edge. And then I'm going to take all of my cuts. So again, I need 16 of the same size. So I'm just going to do 8 as opposed to 16. And it really does cut down on time. You can cut a 3-yard quilt in, I mean, most of the 3-yard quilts, you can cut them so quickly. I really enjoy cutting, so sometimes I will just do a bit more just because. But this here, there are 16 cuts that need to be done on the first cut, and then the next one needs 5. So I'm going to do this doubled up, then I'm going to cut again twice, and then I'm going to open it up and get that last cut. And that's going to be that. It's not going to take me any time at all. Matter of fact, I'm going to time it. Why not? That sounds like fun. Hold on one second. I'll tell you how much time it takes. So all those strips got cut in about 8 minutes. It didn't take long at all. It actually took a lot less time than I thought it was going to take. Like, it wasn't even a full 10 minutes, guys. And that's not to say, oh, we want to cut things faster. There's just some allure about being able to cut things faster so that we can get to sewing. Even though I love to cut fabric. You know, do what you guys feel. And that's not a race or anything like that. But I just wanted you guys to know how you can cut a little time with that. So now I'm getting ready to probably do the same thing. I haven't really looked at how to cut this one just yet, but you guys, if you haven't seen this fabric in person, I really want you guys to go see it because it is absolutely gorgeous. I tend to always go with this colorway, which would be like the nighttime colorway, as opposed to the peaches and the pinks and that kind of thing. I do sometimes, but this is gorgeous. My mother was like, oh my goodness, she was so taken with this fabric. She was like, this is so gorgeous. So it's not just me. Very excited to cut into this and see what happens and see where this falls and lands. I'm not fussy cutting it. I'm just going to let the chips fall where they may and just let it be beautiful. Where, because you really can't catch a bad spot to this. Like it's just pretty everywhere. All right, that's enough of me gushing about this. Let me hurry up and cut this so we can move on. So now everything has been cut out. Can you believe it? This is our quilt. I love 3-yard quilts. They're just so compact, and it's gonna be a good time. Like, I'm ready for this. I love some good strip piecing. We've got that going on here, and this is probably one of the more involved patterns. There's a lot of it's a lot of allusion to it. So let's get started. Let's get to getting. For our first step, we're going to take a fabric number 2 and the same size fabric number 3, and we're going to sew those together on the long side, and we're going to do that 2 times, and then we are going to start this quilt journey. So we have 2 of these, and I'm just going to press this with this side up really quickly. Now I'm going to subcut this, strip down into little pieces. So as I figure out where the thing is that I need here, we'll cut it down to little guys. So we'll take these little pieces here and we'll stack them up, and we'll do that for both of these pieces, both of these. And when I press it, I just press it towards the blue. It's just, it doesn't need to match up with anything, so we'll be fine. So I'm running into an interesting issue here, and as usual, I'm like, So you can see that the owl is looking this way. Do I want him upside down? If I can avoid it, I don't. I don't know that I'm going to be able to avoid it. But I was able to cut enough of these with no owl's faces in them, which was cool, right? So that works out. And I'm just looking at this pattern, and I am going to try to be conscious of where these side pieces, how these side pieces turn. I think I want all the owls, at least if they're facing, I want them facing in. So I want the top of the head on this side, not that side. I'm going to show you what I mean in just a second. It'll make more sense. So you can see that our strip has some eyes on this one. This one has a lot of eyes. And I want them to all be going the same way. I don't want some of them facing out and some of them facing in. Here you can see that we've got eyes, and the eyes are facing us right now. This is the top of the head. These are the eyes. I don't want them poking out and going every which way. So when I look at how the pattern calls for this to be sewn, I can see that fabric 2, this is fabric 2, and fabric 3 are going to go this way, because I'm going to be turning this so that fabric 2 is on the inside. So I'm just going to rotate this so that all the eyes are going to go on the inside of the block. I'm just rotating this so that the eyes are touching here and all the heads will be facing inward. This is what happens when you use a print that is directional and not tossed. I didn't really put much thought into it. It's going to be cool in the big blocks, but in these blocks that are twisting and turning, it might be weird to see an owl's eyes upside down. That's what I don't want to have happen. I'm going to try not to have any upside down owls. That's the goal. All right. Now we're taking a strip and we're doing another subcut. So we've got those little itty bitty guys there. Now we're going to make some that are a little bit longer. And as you can see, the eyes are facing that way. So this is upside down. This is my belly button right here. And so this is upside down again. When we turn it, it's going to turn this way. So all my eyes will be facing inward. And I'm okay with that. All right, here we go. Subcutting. When you're cutting these, if you are a frugal quilter and you do not like to waste, I wouldn't say waste it, but just cut into fabric that might have to be used in like a orphan block or something like that, make sure you're counting, because you do not have to go through an entire strip for any of the ones that, I shouldn't say that. That's not, I'm not saying that properly. You have a whole strip, you might be able to get 10 out of the strip when the recipe, the pattern only calls for 6. So count how many you can get, and then maybe you can keep that leftover piece for something amazing that you have going on. So just don't feel like, whoa, why do I have so much left over? Because I'm finding that I can get quite a few extra out of the pieces that I'm subcutting. There we go. So with all of the little pieces that we've done, these are all non-directional after I have cut them down. So no eyes. I didn't get any eyes on these. Some of these do have eyes. Let me see if I can find one with eyes. Here are the eyes, and I believe it's going to go this way. It is. Okay. And then we're going to grab one of the little rectangles that we cut initially. These are all non-directional. None of these happen to have eyes. That's just the way the cookie crisp like fell. I don't think I was even trying on that. I don't know. So all we have is this beautiful border that is not distracting in the sense that it's like, oh my goodness, it's directional. So I'm going to sew all of these together in the way that you see them. And then we'll come back and do some more strip piecing, because you can see we have all of these left over here and there is lots more to do. So I'm going to make, I think I make 12 of this unit, the way that you see it. I'm just going to take these and sew this down, press it, doesn't matter which direction you press it. I will probably press it toward this flat side here, the side without the bump, and I will probably press it this way and that way. Yep, that's what's going to happen. Let's do it. So here we are with this. And like I said, I'm going to just press it toward the flat side. So this side we are going to set everything with this iron. And we are going to open it. And same thing over here. Just gonna open that up a little bit. Ooh, it's hot. And there we are with our first weird looking little block. It looks a little weird right now, but it'll be cute in a minute. She'll be cute. All right, let's get to getting. Now it's time to take these last 2 strips and figure out what we're going to do with this section down here, which is similar to this, but it's going to be the bottom part. So the way that they want us to sew it together is one of these. And now let's see, do I have any eyes on this one? Oh, I've got 1 pair, so I really don't have to worry too much. And I don't have any eyes on this one. Okay, well that's great. That's perfect. No eyes on this one. 1 little measly pair of eyes right here. And I want them to be sitting up. So, although when I do my 1/4 inch seam, that's going to get eaten up. So do I even care? Yeah, that's not even, you won't even know that that's an owl. But let's see, they want us to sew it together with this on the top, this on the bottom, and then it is going to, once we subcut it, it is going to sit just as we see it here. it's going to sit like this. So this is the way that I'm going to sew this one together, because this is sitting at the bottom. This is the bottom one. Okay. No worries. No worries. All right, let's do it. So now we cut these little guys, and we're going to take all 12 of these and all 12 of these, and we're going to do the same thing. This is going to go this way, and this little guy is going to go this way. And we will do all of those. And then we should be cooking with gas. Well, that's not true. We got to do another straight piece. Just kidding. Here we go. So I chain pieced it because that's what I do. Now I have this thread cutter here, and it is perfectly fine, but you guys know that they make a black one, and I want it. They also make a black rotary cutter that I'll probably never use because I'm obsessed with my rotary cutter. That's my jam, but I want it just because I want a black rotary cutter, and I want a black thread cutter, and I want a black HD9. There's no reason whatsoever for me to have any of those things, but I just want them. All right, so I'm going to put this up and flip this back. Why, you say, is because there's no seam here, so that I'm not adding to bulk. I'm not trying to jump over a seam. So whenever you can, and it doesn't matter, put the flat side up and press the flat. So I'm going to do that and press out all these really quickly. All right, so now we have these. Let's not get the little short ones. Actually, they're probably the same. No, they're different. They definitely look different. But I know that these are all supposed to be on the bottom, and these are all supposed to be on the left. I guess it goes like this. Okay, let's just whoop. All right, give me 1 second to grab the block. So now that we've done that, we are going to do this, a little bit of this, and this. It looks a little weird, but that's what we're doing. And then after we do that, we will do this. So these two have to go first. This is very interesting. I can't wait to step back and see what this looks like, because this is obviously very busy, and this is not super duper duper busy, but it's, you know, it's got a lot going on, but the colors are just beautiful together. So again, we're making sure that fabric 2 is here, and again, the size is going to be a little different. These are definitely longer. So we've got 12 of these to do on the bottom, and that's going to be easy work. Easy work. And because this is an ombre, each one is going to be a little different, which is going to be beautiful too. It's going to be just gorge. All right, this one to this. Now we have these here, and they are great. We just sewed this one on, and then we sewed this one on afterwards, just like we said, and now we've got a pile of those. Now I think we're going to take a couple more of these strips here, and that other strip that we had. So I'm right. We are going to take one of these strips, and we are going to take 2 of these strips, and we are going to sew them down just like this. One on the top, one on the bottom, and then we are going to cut these, then we're going to subcut these, and we're going to make 2 of these units. So I'm going to do this twice, and then I will be back with you when we cut these down, and then we've got one more step before we can start putting together these blocks to make the quilt. So now we have this strip, which is lovely, and I starched it quite a bit, so it's laying pretty good here. Now let's subcut this into whatever it's supposed to be subcut to. I don't even know myself. This ruler here will be perfect. And I'm going to grab one of these ends. I guess I can work from this end. There's no reason why I cannot. And we are going to freshen this edge up and get rid of this lovely selvage. And we will do this here. And now we will cut. Oh, I should have got a bigger ruler. This felt right in theory. But it's not going to get it. I need a wider ruler. No, I don't. We're just going to use the mat. And we'll go down and do some cutting over here. And we're just going to subcut. And we're going to do this until we have 12 pieces. We're going to need 12 of those. And we have 2 of these, don't forget. So I'm looking at this last piece, and granted, this does not bother me. So with this strip, you're kind of getting what you get. I did not get any owl's faces. I got owl's butts, but their feathers are so beautiful, and this vine work is so gorgeous. I'm really not all that concerned. However, I do see the opportunity to get to these 2 without, you know, cutting a head off here and whatnot. So I'm going to take the opportunity to fussy cut, but be careful, like do your measuring, because, you know, this strip, you need 6. You need all 6 out of here, and you have some wiggle room. You do have a little bit of wiggle room. So I'm going to take this opportunity to go on ahead and fussy cut this so that I can get 2 faces. They will not be dead center, but at least it won't be, you know, this guy's head off a little bit. So I'm just going to take the time to do that, and I thought I should tell you guys about that. There is some play in here, but for the most part, the way that this has been cut and the way that it all fell, I got really nice pieces on this strip. I don't know that the same thing is going to happen for the other one, and I'm not really trying to, you know, super duper control it, but because I see the opportunity to get it, I'm going to get it. So I have some selvage on this one. So I'm just going to take that selvage off as close to the selvage as I can. And we're going to do this. And then I'm going to go on ahead and grab what I need. Now, something else, well, I'll tell you in a second. Hold on. So I happened to get 2 beautiful owls on this. This fabric is just, I know, I keep talking about it. The camera shows it up a little different than it looks in person, but you guys, if you get a chance to see this in person, I suggest you go pet it because it's worth petting. So I was able to get 2 good owls here, and even with the 1/4 inch, you'll still get a full owl on this. So I just took that opportunity. Now this next strip might not land in that way, in that same way, because I wasn't thinking, I cut the selvage off of this before I sewed it. So I tried to do a little overhang here and a little bit of overhang here. So we'll see what happens, because again, we need this full strip because we need 6 pieces from this. So I'm going to be very careful with this guy, and we'll see what owls I actually end up getting and which ones I end up chopping off, and I might just get some butts. Owl butts. So all of them except for this one is nothing but saturation goodness. All the other ones have an owl somewhere in them. That's just the way the cookie crumbled on this. It was not by any particular planning, I don't think. When I first started cutting this, I don't think I thought that all the way through. If you want to be sure you get an owl in some way, shape, or form, just buy a little bit more fabric. How much more, you say? I don't know. It depends upon how fussy you want to get. You might have to actually count the owls and whatnot and really look at the pattern before you take it to the store so that you can really make it work. But for me, this doesn't bother me. I'm good with this. This is beautiful, and you really don't even know what it is that you're looking at per se. So then our next part of the process is we are going to take these strips, and I'm just going to take off the selvage ends. You are going to put them on the side and just sew down. They don't have you measuring anything specific. They just say put it on here, sew it down, trim it even, do the same thing to the other side. I'm going to starch these really well, and then I'm going to do it that way. If I were entering this in a show, I would press these as flat as I could get them. I would measure, maybe even fold these in half, and go on ahead and put them on so that I know that I'm doing my very, very, very best work. But for this, just for a cute little, you know, quick present or whatnot, this will be fine. It will come out beautifully. But I am going to give these a little starchy goodness and then give them a press. I'm going to press these one more time and then just sew and then sew down. I'll show you that. So I have sewn both of these on, and now we'll just flip it back and press it. Oh, so pretty. Look at the owls tucked away on this one. So I'm going to hit this with a little bit of heat here. Oh. Just setting the seams for a second. And then I'm going to roll that puppy back that way. And I'm going to press it. And press it. And we're going to do the same thing with the other side. Just, there we go. All right, that looks good. I love that at this point in my quilty life, my quilty career, I can see things getting better. There used to be a time when this would be all loopy and wavy and whatnot, and now this guy just lays flat, even though I sewed it on the sides without actually measuring it. It's a nice flat block. I didn't even have to use my big clapper, but I feel good about that. All right. I need to do that with all of these, and then we will just plop these two every other, just like we always do, and we'll see how that looks. I'm excited about it. This is so pretty. All right, here goes nothing. Oh, there's a lot of blocks. It's only 24. No, it's 12 of each, so it's only 24, but it feels like a lot of blocks. All right, let me press these out, and then we'll be back, and I'll show you what we're going to do from there. So I just realized there's one side that I didn't do. When you're doing this, try to put the straight on your sewing machine. So whenever I sew this way. And that way you're not trying to jump over any seams that you may have pressed the opposite direction. All right. So now it's time to arrange. And it's 4 across. There are 2 without owls at all, and I think I want to be intentional about where I place them. Other than that, I don't care. Where are they? There's one. And there's two. I'm going to look at that layout and decide where it's going to go. I think I'm going to put one down here and the other one right there. Yep. That's what we're going to do. So we're good. So these two have been sewn together. And we're going to sew these two together. Now they're all sewn together. I think I'm going to start to the left, I'm going to press everything toward this guy. And if you do that, if you always press it towards that, you will always be pressing it in the right direction. So I think I'm going to choose that one. Okay. We've got 2 blocks. And it looks good. Looks good, looks good. I'm going to grab my pins here. And I'm going to pin at the intersections to make sure that everything is nesting. I press toward this block on each one so the seams are going in the opposite direction. It should nest beautifully. And then we're just going to build this out. And it's 4 across and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down. So I've got quite a few of these to do. I think I'll do sets of 2 and then put them all together. So I have sewn this all together. And now it's time to put on the first border. So many borders are going on this guy. So many borders. It came out, it's really pretty. I mean, just beautiful. My mother came in and she just couldn't stop staring at it and touching it. That's how I know when I've got a hit when that happens. So I'm going to put on the first border, which is the same as this fabric number 2. And I'm going to sew it end to end. And then go around. I'm going to start with the sides first, and then the top, and then the bottom. Right side, left side, top, bottom. I'm going to spray these down with a bunch of starch first. And then that's what we're going to do. So now we have 2 borders sewn on. And I just wanted to show you guys that I'm going to press them and then sew the top border on. I should say we have 2 border sides. So this border side has been sewn on here and the other side. So this is what I mean when I say do both sides first. Do the 2 long sides first. Then you're going to press them backward. And then you're going to do the top and the bottom. And I have to do that. I did it once. I've got to do it again. And I've got to do it one more time. Borders drive me insane. But they really do frame a quilt nicely. So I'm going to do that when I come back. This quilt will be done. We can stick a fork in her. So I am working on this border and I'm putting them all so that they are all at least facing one direction. I don't want to have some eyes flipped up. I just don't think that's a good look. So I had them like this and I thought, okay, this is perfect. You'll just flip it this way. Sew this on the edge, and then when you flip it back, then we have upside down bird bellies. And I thought, uh-oh, I better rethink that. So in order to get it to go properly, and this just happens to have fallen right here. So I know that this, even though this is kind of ambiguous, you really can't tell when it's not like that. We still want to make sure that the eyes are all going, just make sure that everything is just going the right direction. So to fix it, we are just going to initially flip it upside down. Then we will match it together. We are going to sew it on the edge. When I sew these together, I make sure to change my stitch length to like a 2, just to get some stitches to really lock it in there. So I'm just going to stitch it really quickly over here. And Now, when we pull it this way, we've got it all just facing upward. It just feels like the right thing to do. So we're going to do the same thing with this strip. I'm just going to flip it upside down. And it's not continuous or anything like that. It's just a little something. A little extra something to make this quilt extra special. A little extra time put into it.